I dig in the dirt. Shovel, shovel, shovel. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rig.
Hello and welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochrane and, well, you know the program. It's all about making gardening easy. It's full of inspiration and lots of local advice. But this week, we're bringing you inspiration from right across the other side of the world. This is Dublin in Ireland and they have a garden show here called Bloom. You've probably never heard of it, but it's absolutely brilliant. We're going to show you around.
Digging around.
Welcome to early summer in the Northern Hemisphere. This is one of my favourite places on the planet, Ireland. And there's so much to love about this place, and their beautiful gardens are something else. Every year around this time, they hold a garden exhibition that's so good, I leave absolutely envious. Bloom is one of my absolute favourite garden shows. I came here a few years ago and fell in love with it. And, well, this year I had to come back and I've dragged my mate Kim Searles along. Kim, I told you this was good. How good is it?
Trev, one word? Wow. It's unbelievable. Now, we're in the Kildare Growers Co-op Garden. That's just won a silver medal.
Yeah.
But when you get 28 of Europe's top designers, put them all together, you're going to get something special, and you definitely get it here at Bloom. And when you look at the gardens, I mean, the one thing is they're all achievable. Achievable budgets, achievable designs. You can literally pick them up and put them in your own garden, and they'll work.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about this the most. That and the spectacular use of plants. This event is set in the incredibly beautiful surroundings of Phoenix Park, and it has everything you could ever want in any garden show.
Bloom isn't just about the gardens, it's about the plants as well. And the good news for the locals is that they fall in love with the plant, they could generally buy it at one of the many retail garden centres here at the show. And if you get sick of lugging these around with you, there's even a plant crate that'll look after the plants until you're ready to go home. Brilliant.
There are 28 spectacular show gardens, 100 Irish food and drink producers, restaurants, cafes, there's even 25 cookery demonstrations. And this show, well, they're going to get well over 100,000 visitors this year. Well, Kimbo, how good is Bloom? It's got to be one of the best garden shows in the world.
And what another excuse to come, a good excuse to come to Ireland.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Bloom, it's brilliant. Don't forget it.
Fertilise around the drip line. It's something you often hear when learning about how to fertilise fruit trees. But what does it mean and why is it so important? The drip line is the outer edge of the tree's canopy, and it's here just below the soil surface where the main feeder roots are. This is the ideal zone for watering and feeding your fruiting trees, and now is the time to do it. With warmer spring temperatures, the nutrients that you supply are going to help both fruit production and plant growth. It's really important that you choose the right type of plant food for your fruiting trees. They have specific nutrient demands, and it's even better if they can access those as they need them. This is why controlled release plant foods are so good. Did you know it's estimated as much as 70% of normal granular fertiliser leaches below the plant's roots before they can absorb it? Controlled release plant foods provide a small amount every day because plants need nutrients the same way we do, small amounts at a time. Granulated fertilisers are very harsh on your soil biology, and we all know how important microbes are for soil and plant health. And how do you tell the good ones from the bad ones? Well, without a microscope, you won't. But with this stuff, you'll be adding 24 beneficial microbes to your soil and a top quality controlled release plant food at the same time. An Australian company has created just that. This is Treforte M for fruit and citrus trees. It's a controlled release plant food with over 60 essential macro and micronutrients. And each little prill has a coating of millions of beneficial microbes that are activated with moisture. So make sure you water it in once you've sprinkled it around your trees. And choosing a fertiliser that's rich in potassium will help improve your flower set and subsequent fruit quality, quantity and size. Best of all, the general health of your tree and the surrounding soil will be greatly improved with seasonal applications of these little beauties. Because it's a controlled release fertiliser, you will only need to feed every 4 to 6 months, which is good for your soil, good for your trees, and extra good for the environment. You know, I once had a lady tell me that she wasn't getting any lemons, so she'd been pulling off the flowers in the hope of getting more fruit. And she was shocked to hear that she had it all wrong. Now that you know how to properly look after your fruit tree, it's worthwhile hunting down some Treforte for fabulous fruit this spring. It can be a little hard to find, but check out some good independent garden centres.
Well, this is familiar to us all. It's the strawberry. Now, the origin of the strawberry goes way back to France, where when they were planted out, they used to put straw around the plants, and that was a natural barrier to stop slugs and snails from getting to the fruit. Well, when the English came over and saw all the plants with straw around them, they immediately called them strawberries. And putting that straw around's not a bad way of keeping the slugs and snails off yours. Now, after the break, more great garden advice from the garden gurus.
When it's pruning time or you're cleaning up around the yard, it makes sense to recycle your garden waste to use back onto the garden. That's why a rapid shredder like this is invaluable. Now, I bet most of you have never really thought about having a shredder at home because you thought they were simply too big. Well, isn't it amazing to think that you can actually pick up one of these compact little units that you can transport around the garden to shred all of your green waste while you're actually out there gardening? Don't be fooled by appearances. This might be a compact little unit, but it's got a lot of bite, so it can chew through sizable sticks and branches up to 35 mil thick. It's lightweight, it has a transport handle plus wheels, so you can easily manoeuvre it around the garden to where you're working. Okay, now for those of you that like to know the technical details, it's got a 2,400 watt motor and all steel reversible blades, which basically means it's powerful, it's durable, it's got a long service life, and it comes with a spare set of blades that you can chuck in the shed to use later on, which is extra handy. It reminds me a bit of the juicer at home. Just feed the green waste into the chute and push it down with the push stick, which keeps you and your fingers well away from the blade. You can easily collect the shredded material in a bag or bucket and then compost it to put back onto the garden. Now, because this machine works so hard, it will give anything a go. So it comes with an overload switch. That way, if you get a bit too enthusiastic and start jamming in things that it's just not made for, it'll automatically switch itself off. If you're after something quieter, you'll love this. This is a silent shredder. You get the same 2,400 watt motor, the same durability and powerful shredding action, but it does it all quietly. There's a few more differences too. This one has a self-feeding system, so when you put the branches or twigs through it, it automatically pulls the material through for you. It also has a little bit more capacity. It will cut through branches that are just slightly thicker, around 40 mil. And check this out. It's got a no-volt safety release switch, which is an added safety feature, which means that if for any reason the power gets interrupted, it won't automatically turn itself back on when the power comes back on. You have to turn it on yourself. Shredding is a great way to break down your dry garden waste into small pieces, speed up the composting process, and turn old garden clippings into valuable organic matter for the garden.
It's easy to forget about your pool in winter when no one is using it, but leaving it to look after itself, or even worse, switching it off, is a surefire way to find yourself with a green pool or a seized pump when you switch it back on. Reducing your running times and chlorine output if you have a saltwater pool, and taking a few minutes each week to follow these basic steps will ensure you save time, money and heartache long before the swimming season hits.
Although you might not think it, testing your water for correct balance is probably one of the most important things you can do in winter. Checking it yourself each week with one of these test strips is very quick and straightforward and shows you whether or not you need to add more product. Or just take a sample into your local Poolworks store for a more comprehensive and accurate test.
And the simple addition of this winter algicide will help keep algae at bay when the pool is out of action.
Just as it is in summer, it's critical to keep the water moving through your filtration system, so you've got to keep on top of your skimmer baskets, especially with all the extra leaves. As you'd expect, a full and overflowing skimmer basket is going to really slow things down.
Wind and evaporation also cause water loss through winter, so emptying your basket is a good way to keep an eye on it. You want your water level at about halfway up your skimmer box.
As you can see, 10 minutes each week is all it takes to keep your pool and equipment warranty in check.
But if it all seems like too much hard work, get online or call Poolworks and they'll send out a professional like my mate Paul here to do it all for you. That way, when summer hits, you'll be ready to jump in.
Standard or mop-top plants are becoming increasingly popular. Now, for some, it's a rootstock with a graft at the top to create the round pom-pom top. But for others, like this daisy, it's a matter of picking a nice strong leader like this and continually taking off all the soft side branches until you get to the right height. Then it's a matter of trimming it back to create the shape. Doesn't that look good? Well, great garden ideas coming up after the break.
If you'd like to get your hands on some of the great plants in the Touch of Class collection, check out the Touch of Class Facebook page. Enter their competition and you could be taking home a spring pack of 10 plants chosen for you by the experts.
New season roses, like these ones here, need something special if they're really going to take off and perform at their best this spring. When you prune these roses, in fact, when you prune most plants, the most important thing you can do is provide them with nutrients. You have to give them a boost, but you also have to make sure that the soil is healthy. And that means making sure that the microbes in the soil are healthy. Highly productive plants like roses also need a complex nutrient supply. This helps ward off disease and pest infestation. Roses that are not fed after pruning will be prone to aphid infestations, for instance. These roses were fed through the summer last year with a special new fertiliser blend and have produced more blooms, had less aphid infestations and less disease outbreaks. Now the thing with roses is if you do give them a prune, make sure you give them a feed at the same time. You do need a special type of food and a complex nutrient, something like Troforte. It's controlled release. It only provides enough food for the plant to take up at any one time. With over 60 minerals and trace elements and all those beneficial microbes, your roses will look fantastic. But here's the good news. It comes in lots of different types of blends, and those blends include for roses, camellias and azaleas, some of those flowering plants that really need the nutritional support.
If you're after a truly spectacular hedge, one that really shines out from the crowd, then you'll adore fairy magnolias. Blush with its gorgeous lilac pink flowers and its cousin fairy magnolia cream. Both varieties boast masses of lightly perfumed flowers through early spring, but I can tell you from experience that it also spot flowers through summer. And when the flowers fade, the show doesn't stop because the falling petals paint a picture on the ground. Fairy magnolias take centre stage as loose natural hedges or clip them into more formal shapes. Grow them as feature shrubs amongst massed ground cover or in decorative pots on the patio. Best of all, you can plant them in full sun or part shade with great success. Fairy magnolias grow to about 3 to 4 metres tall, with compact bushy growth and lovely evergreen foliage. Plant them 1 metre apart for the ultimate flowering hedge.
I like practical, functional and easy care gardening, and I love to follow the permaculture philosophy that things you grow should have more than one purpose. For this week's containerology lesson, I'm going to show you how you can take potted colour to another level. Not only does this range of plants look pretty, their flowers or petals are edible too. You can add a soft floral note to scones with a touch of crushed lavender flowers, or add a citrus kick to salads using a few marigold petals. To make this colourful creation easy care and fail-safe, choose a self-watering pot like this Four Seasons one from Decor. It looks like terracotta but without the added weight, so when it's full to the brim, it's really easy to move around. Did you know that sweet little viola flowers can be sugared for cake decoration, and that fragrant flowers are wonderful companions in your garden, attracting beneficial insects and bees? Marigolds are great companions to grow with lettuce, tomatoes and beans. Boost their flowering potential with this stuff. Power Feed is a liquid fertiliser that's boosted with potassium for flowering and nitrogen and phosphorus for healthy plant growth. By choosing a self-watering pot, you remove the hassle of remembering to water daily, particularly during the hot summer months. Trust an Aussie-owned and made product to help reduce the time you need to spend watering and give you more time to enjoy smelling and eating the flowers. And on that note, I wouldn't recommend eating flowers and petals unless you've grown them yourself. Flowers grown for the floristry market have probably been sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, and you don't want to go eating those nasties. Pots as beautiful and useful as these don't deserve to be banished outside forever. Bring them inside occasionally. But before you move these pots, tilt them slightly to remove some of the stored water. This will help lighten the load and stop water spillage. And if you can't see yourself eating flowers, but you'd still like to create a functional flower pot, why not try using something like the mini red flowering gum? It'll attract bees and birds to your garden. And with a last-minute speedy clean-up, this outdoor setting is ready for a party.
Now look, it is a gardening show, but it's not all about gardens. There is a fantastic food section to this place. It just blows your mind. They even show you where all the food comes from. So we've got all sorts of livestock, including these cows here, which are going to get milked in the hour. Now, after the break, we're back in the garden with some more great gardening advice.
How good would it be to have a consistently healthy pool? Imagine having an energy-efficient pump, a robotic cleaner, a brand new sand filter, and a professional to install it all. And while we're dreaming, imagine having a year's worth of maintenance from Poolworks. Joe. Well, it doesn't have to be a dream at all. All this could be yours by simply going to the Garden Guru's website and telling us in 25 words or less what makes you a healthy pool person. Then this healthy pool prize pack worth $6,000 could be yours thanks to our friends at Poolworks.
Recently, I introduced you to a great little plant called Pittosporum golf ball. Well, this is its brother, hole-in-one, and it's got all of the same great attributes. So it's got compact, dense, gorgeous foliage, and it branches freely from the base, so you get foliage all the way down to the ground. It has a fabulous natural rounded shape, so you don't have to constantly prune or trim it to keep it looking good. In fact, you don't have to trim it at all. Just plant it in a sunny or partly shaded spot and it'll really take off. But where hole-in-one differs is in the foliage. It's a variegated form of golf ball, so when you look at it, it has a really lovely silvery sheen. It does display small chocolatey purple flowers in late spring and early summer, but really the feature of this plant is the foliage. Now the plant itself gets to about 80 centimetres tall and wide, so it's really the perfect mid-size hedging or border plant. It's low maintenance and looks good year-round.
When it comes to great gardens, we've visited some absolute beauties over the years, and the spectacular Bouchard Gardens on Vancouver Island is one of those places that you visit and just fall in love with. The gardens that were created here are simply breathtaking and well worth a visit as part of a trip of a lifetime, one you will never forget, to Canada. To get there, you'll need to travel with the experts who know Canada best, Scenic Tours, who are also our series sponsor. Scenic Tours are designed to provide luxury travel with every option in a tour that's flexible and allows you to see what you want to see along the journey. It's a 22-day tour of the Rockies, West Coast and an Alaskan cruise, 14 nights on land and 7 nights cruising. It takes in Vancouver and then heads out on the Rocky Mountaineer train to Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Sun Peaks and Whistler before returning to Vancouver Island and British Columbia's capital city, Victoria. The tour then cruises in luxury up to Skagway and Glacier Bay in Alaska, opening up spectacular scenery. Canada is just one of those places that dazzles every day, and waking up in the spectacular Rocky Mountain towns of Banff, Whistler and Lake Louise, staying in the world-renowned Fairmont hotels is simply sublime. These uniquely Canadian towns located high in the Rocky Mountains are considered some of the most beautiful in the world. A trip with Scenic is all-inclusive. All activities like visiting Bouchard Gardens and sightseeing, even tipping, is included. The tours are set up so you can go at a leisurely pace and you have freedom to tailor your tour to add extra experiences to suit exactly what you want to do. For viewers, we have a special offer. Book now and you'll fly free to Canada, just pay taxes, and Scenic will also give you a free night's accommodation before or after your tour. Visit scenictours.com.au or call 1300 Scenic. That's 1300 723 642. 1300 723 642.
There were 2 gold medal winners in the large garden category this year. The carefully planned, well-spaced Giardino della Mostra by Tim Austin was absolutely superb. Look at the beautiful use of plants, the symmetry and space allowed, and the stunning vistas that have been developed. Tim deserved gold well and truly here.
The other won Best in Show too. Waterford Harvest Venture into the Wild is visionary. It's inspired by the wetland wild habitat found near the Comera Mountains near Waterford and sets a scene of rural bliss in one of this country's most picturesque regions. The work done to recreate mossy stone walls set against the new modern island design was brilliant. This is Tulashentesi and Svelave Coola's entry called Eco Tango, and it's a ripper garden. So much so, the judges have awarded it a gold medal. They've used recycled timbers and a great selection of plants to show what can be done in even the smallest of spaces. Its pallets turned into a vertical garden filled with veggies, herbs and edible flowers, and it's a brilliant way to reduce, recycle and deliver fresh food right to the table, all in the same time.
This sensational garden was built by multi-award-winning designer Paul Martin. Now, Paul has won 8 gold medals here, but he's also won internationally at places like Singapore. This garden's got a very deep meaning to it. You see, it's all about the first 1,000 days, from a child's conception through till its 2nd birthday, and the importance of nutrition, particularly in third world countries.
Love to Grow by Jane McCorkle is another gold winner here at Bloom. And Jane is no stranger to success. She's already won 5 gold medals here. And this garden is filled with textures and colours, but there's also plenty of edibles, including red currants over there and blueberries over there. And how about this apple tree, this old gnarled apple tree? It's actually called Bramley, that's the variety, and it's the #1 cooking apple here in Ireland.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, we're back next week and we're back in Australia, so we'll be showing you all around local gardens. If you really want a good excuse to come to Ireland, Bloom has to be one of the best. It is a sensational show and it's located in Dublin, one of the best cities in the world. If you've got any questions from tonight's show, maybe you'd like to watch some of the videos again, simply visit our Facebook site or check out our website. It's that easy. I'm Trevor Cochrane. We'll look forward to seeing you next week for the Garden Gurus.